Oke, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today, in this opportunity, I would like to deliver three stories. But before I deliver a story, I would like to introduce myself first. So, my name is Ana Barakatul Azizah, but you can call me Ana. Okay, for the first story, we are going to Beauty and the Beast. And the characters there are Beauty, there are Beast, and there are Trader. Okay, for the first story. Once upon a time, there was a struggling. He lived with his daughter, Beauty, in a small village in France. He left their home for a business trip and leaving Beauty behind. Coming back, he had to pass through a dark forest. As she was tired, he looked for a place to sleep. He came across an attached castle and knocked on the door. There was no answer, and Trader crept inside and found that the castle was empty. However, there was a table covered with a dessert of food and a large, comfortable bed. After eating a full meal, he curled up in the bed and went straight to sleep. The trader woke up feeling fresh to the next morning, and still here was no sign of life in the castle. While searching, he comes across a vibrant rose bush in the garden. He thought to himself that Beauty would love a rose as a gift when he arrived home. He reached up and cut the red rose from the struggle bush. Immediately a violent and loud roaring sound came from the bush. Something swept and Trader off his feet and thumped him to the ground, and Fitch's beast jumped out of the bush. The towered over the Trader and swooped down at him. He wore a long red velvet cap around his very neck. "You come into my home, and then you dare to steal my roses?" he boomed. The trader was speechless, his face frozen in horror. It was then that a little voice shouted from her father. It was Beauty. She had gone and researched of her father because not returned on time. And then she jumped off her horse and ran on the garden. She stopped by her father's side and stared up at the beast. The beast looked at the both. "I will let you go to pay for your crime. Your daughter stay with me forever," he cried. The father begged the beast not to give them such a punishment. However, Beauty loved her father very much, and she promised to stay in the castle if he was allowed to go free. The beast picked up Beauty's father in his paws and threw him out of the garden. Beauty father was afraid and he ran away to the village. At first, Beauty was terrified to stay in the castle. She was afraid of the beasts. Beauty think that uh, beast is like a monster because she is very scared to him. And however, Beauty soon learned that the beast's heart was kind. Uh, he treated her with care, making sure she was fed and warm. He would keep her company while she was reading or exploring the castle. But the beast fell in love um, with with Beauty and eventually asked if she would marry him. However, Beauty reviews and all these reviews actually because she feel very miss her father. The beast then showed her small magic mirror. Ask the mirror to let you to see your father, he said. The mirror lit up the thread there. In the glass was Beauty father. He was very ill in bed and he was all alone. Beauty cried out in terror, pleading, "Please, please, let me see my father. He's dying." Despite the promise she had made, the beast agreed to let Beauty go as he wanted to see her happy. Beauty left for a week, nursed her father back to health, and she was happy at home. One night, when she had been at home for some time, Beauty had a terrible nightmare in which she saw the beast was well. He was dying in his bed. Beauty was afraid for him. As soon as she woke up the next morning, she ran straight back to the castle. She was the beast lying in the same bed that they had seen in her dream. She cried out, "Please, do not love me. I love you." Then, all of a sudden, the beast transformed into a handsome young prince. He stood up and turned to the face Beauty. "I was once a prince, but I was put under this terrible curse. Only true love could break it. You have saved me because you learned to love me for who I am. You did not look at me and see only a beast." Everjoy, the couple married and lived happily ever after. Okay, we are going to the story number 2. Story number 2. The title is Ali Baba and the 40 Thieves. And the character, there are Ali Baba and then of course Kasim. Okay, we are going to the story. Each evening, Ali Baba went out to gather twigs and branches for his wife, so that she had enough firewood to cook the stew for dinner. One day, Ali Baba went further than usual to hunt for fallen branches beneath the street that grew beside the rock cliffs near the high hills. Suddenly, he heard a great clatter of hoofs on the rocky path. He was afraid. He climbed the nearest tree and hid among the leaves. He was well hidden but was able to peer between the leaves, horseback riding, one behind the other. Ali Baba counted them as they rode beneath the tree where he hid. One, two, three, four, and many, many more until he had counted 40. Finally, the 40 readers researched and Clifford dismount and removed the saddlings for their horses' back. Ali Baba noticed that the backs were bulging. Perhaps the bags are full of treasure, thought Ali Baba. These men are thieves and robbers. Maybe they are about to hit their loot. Then thieves lined up behind the leader. They were right in front of steep rocky cliff. How silly, Ali Baba thought. There is nowhere to hide treasure here. At the moment, one of the readers spoke loudly. Open the same, he cried. Suddenly, a secret door in the rock opened. The 40 readers entered a hidden chest. They were going to hide the treasure they had stolen. When they were inside, the leader shouted, "Close the same." The secret door closed again with the thief hidden safely inside. And then he the thieves put the empty setbacks over their horse. Uh, they off one by one. Ali Baba counted to make sure that they had all gone. One, two, three, four, and many, many more until he crossed 40. Then he listened until they could no longer hear any houses clattering. He was safe. Ali Baba climbed down the tree and walked up to rocky cliff. He was curious and discovered if the magic door would open for him if he said the special word. Would he be brave enough to try? Ali Baba stood there. He looked at the rocky cliff, the story about all the treasure in the chest, and he talked about the 40 thieves. He couldn't hear anything at all. Ali Baba couldn't see steps leading down. Little lamps of burning oil lit a stairway. He just about to descend the steps when he remembered the leader of the thieves had spoken the word and closed the magic door. After that, Ali Baba crept down the stone step until he reached the treasure chest. The guests all around in a mess. There were thousands of sparkling jewels in great heaps. diamond, rubies, emerald, and every other sort of precious gem. Uh, then there was gold. Alibaba eyes grew wide in wonder when he saw the fast bills of a good coin. However, Alibaba was not greedy. He didn't want the diamond or the rubies or the emerald only. Alibaba was a poor man. He had no desire to take all coin got. He wanted just one little gold coin. It would be enough to buy food for himself and his family. So Alibaba took one small coin and ran back up the step, stone step. At the top, he took a deep breath. However, there was something Alibaba didn't know. His brother, Kasim, had also come to find firewood. Kasim had seen Alibaba come of the chief and speak some magic word. He had see the magic rock door close. Oh, Alibaba, my brother, what is this magic that I have just seen? Cried Kasim. Alibaba told his brother everything. He warned Kasim that the 40 thieves might return any minute, but they both gathered up almost all firewood and they hurried home, each to their own house. Kasim said, "Go back to the rocky cliffs and say the magic word. Go down in the cave and fetch me some shells and gold coin. I want lots of large gold coin." She gave me a large bag to carry all the treasure. Kasim did as his wife had said. He took the bag and ran back to the rock. In front of the cliff, he said the magic word, "Open sesame." When the secret door opened, Kasim heard inside. He spoken the magic word to close the door. Close sesame. The little oil comes were still alight. Kasim was able to see the stairway that led down to the treasure cave. He ran down and stone steps as fast as he could. When Kasim saw all the sparkling jewels and glistening gold, his eyes light up with greed. He began stuffing gems and coins into his bag. It was soon filled to the brim. There was no room for any more treasure. Kasim became excited that something dreadful happened. I forgot the magic word. Kasim ran up the stone step and stood in front of the magic door. "Open, Barley!" he cried. Nothing happened. "Open it!" Nothing happened. Kasim was worried and cried, "Of course, I knew it was something to eat," he said to himself. So he tried everything he could think of. "Open wheat, open rye, open pumpkin, open melon." At that moment, something even more dreadful happened. The magic door still opened, and there stood the dreadful happened. And then the night Kasim's wife became aware when her husband didn't return home with any treasure. She went uh, next door to Alibaba. Alibaba listened to her story and he feared worse. I had better to go and find him, he said to her. He was afraid that the thief had found Kasim. Alibaba took a lantern and went up into the rocky mountain to look for his brother on the ground in front of the hidden chapel like Kasim's dead body. While the 39 robbers did as he had said, their leader followed the tracks all the way to Alibaba house. When I come tomorrow, I come back tomorrow, said the thief to himself. I shall pretend to be sailor to find a quality olive oil. I shall park my crop of olive oil jars in his man's yard, and I will go and knock on his door when I shot olive oil. My thieves will come rushing in with their swords drawn, ready for a fight. He continued talk to himself in my cart. I have 39 olive oil jars. In each jar, I shall have a man armed with a sharp sword. The man gave an evil loud. When the man inside opened the door, he won't know what hit him. Marjana crept back into the house to tell Alibaba what she had overheard, and she began by saying, "I have a plan." And then she told Alibaba what are her plan, and then their leader put a lid on the top of each jar. Studently pulled the happy cart to Alibaba house. The thief's leader parked his cart in Alibaba's yard, and then he went and knocked on the doctor and on the door. Alibaba opened the door. Your olive oil merchant, he said. Splendid, that is just what we want. I shall buy a jar from you. I will pay you a good price, but first, come in and have a drink with us. The man happily accepted the drink, but he didn't know the merchant had put sleeping powder into the liquid. Marjona crept into the yard. She was crying a dash of soft chest, and she used it to plug all the breathing holes in the jars. When the thief had no more fresh air to breathe, the collapsed into the bottom of the jars. Marjona then ran the house. The villager knocked politely on the door and told her as soon as she was taken inside. And then the guard went with Ali Baba to bring all the treasure back to the village, and the sage tried to return all the jewels and all the money on their rightful owner. In the end, there was still some treasure left over, so the Shehzad were to remain with Alibaba and Marjana. Alibaba soon fell in love with Marjana and eventually married him, and so the story had a happy ending for Alibaba and his family. Okay, now we are going to the last story. The last story, the title is A Lesson for a Tit for Tat. Okay, we are going to the story, but there is a character. The character, there are camel and there are fox. Okay, now we are going to the story. The camel and the fox were very good friends and very good taste. One day, the two friends decided to cross the river so that they could travel to nearby from to steal food. The small fox could not swim, so the camel said to his friend, "Climb up onto my back, and I will swim across the river." And so the fox climbed up onto the camel back, and the strong camel swam across the river the other side. When they had crossed the river, the camel and the fox made their way there to the farm. When they finally arrived at the farm, the fox shot herself a chicken while the camel dug up some lovely fresh vegetable, and Greedy Fox quickly uh, gobbled down her chicken and then said to her friend Camel, "When I finish eating, I am accustomed to singing." "Do not singing just yet," said the camel as he was chewing on his dinner of vegetable. "I have not yet finished eating, and if you sing, then the farmer will hear you. Let me first finish my dinner, and then you can sing as we make our way back home." But the fox didn't pay any attention to her friends began to sing at the top of her voice. The farmer soon heard the singing and come running out of his house, waving a large stick. "I will teach you to steal from me," exclaimed the angry farmer, because the fox was so small and nimble. She was a climb run away from the farmer. And the angry farmer sat upon the camel with his large stick, and the poor camel received many blows to his leg and back before he was finally able to escape. When the camel reaches the river, his bone achieved, and he was very upset with his friend the fox. "Why did you sing when you knew that farmer would hear you, and you could see that I was still eating my dinner?" I asked the camel. "Because it is my custom," replied the fox in her matter of fact way. "Now let me climb upon your back so that we may return to our home across the river." Then the camel walked slowly down the river bank into the water and began to swim across to the other side with the fox upon his back. When the camel was halfway across the river at the point where the water was at its deepest and the current uh, fastest. He stopped swimming and said to the fox, when I have finished eating, I must custom to taking a bath. Do not take a bath, pleaded the fox. I can't swim, and if you take a bath, I shall drown. I am very sorry, said the camel, but I always take a bath after I have eaten. It is my custom. And with that, the camel lowered his back into the deep water until the fox loosed her grip on his back and began to splash around helpless again in a fast current. Help me! cried the desperate fox. I am drowning! I am drowning! The camel asked the fox, Are you sorry that you were so selfish and caused me be eaten by the farmer? Yes, yes, I am truly sorry, cried the fox just before her head disappeared once more beneath the surface of the water. This camel did not have the heart to watch his friend drown in the river, and so he pulled a little fox out of his water and placed her upon his back. Then the camel swam the rest of the way across the river and climbed up the bank and into the grand worm. The fox realized that she had been very selfish and she said to her friend, I'm sorry for what I did and I promise that you can trust me forever and that is that. And I'm sorry that I had to teach you a lesson today, but many times in life it is often a case of tit or tat. Then the two friends began to laugh and roll around in the warm grass while the sunshine dried their wet. She had learned that it was not good be betray a friend, and that if you do wrong by somebody when somebody might well do wrong by you, it was indeed a lesson of it for that. I think enough for the story. Thank you for your nice attention. Have a great day and always keep your health. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.